Ocean Avenue is definitely on the list of, I had to submit a list of streets that were, they're pretty bad, so and we put them through and it's okay. The question was about Ocean Avenue being repaid and MLK being repaid. And there's a number of streets, I can tell you what they were. I mean, Stevens Avenue is horrible from going down from Ocean to the boulevard. You know, and we okayed a contract for a person to come in and do the streets. And guess what happened? They couldn't do them after being approved and winning the bid. They were physically unable to do it. So we had to reject, now go to court, and now we have to rebid the whole process so that we can get those streets done. But Ocean Avenue is definitely one that's very high on the list. It's terrible. They're going to start in the springtime with rebidding. The business administrators attempting to get several companies, not just one, but several companies so we can address the entire city at once. And once we do that, there'll be certain areas where they can begin some parts of the process early, like using concrete. And then after that, they'll start paving. So once this, hopefully, we're able to pass everything and get it through the council quickly, we'll be able to start once the weather breaks, as far as paving. Ocean Avenue is definitely on it, and so is MLK.
The process for that is that we allocate equal dollars in every single ward, every single spring starts the paving. If you have a request on that, I would urge you to email in the next week or so to your council person. They will submit it to the business administrator's office, and then traffic and engineering goes out there, surveys the area, and they add it if it really is ultimately in need. So if you think that it is an area that needs it, email your councilman. That's the starting point. I also want to introduce our councilwoman. She lives in Ward A as well. She's at large. This is Joyce Waterman. Yes, sir.
When you talk about business, okay, I got it. My name is Jermaine. I don't know if you remember me. You talked to me in the hallway when my son got ran down on Boston in the summertime. You talked about it was an accident, but how it came out as the two guys that talked about the whole situation, they came out on Facebook. Your police officers have the Facebook messages, as both of the brothers talk about running down my son. That was in the summertime, and no arrest has been made, or nothing. And you want to be the governor. How can you be the governor if you can't protect none of our kids? When this happened on your street, and it was 50 police officers at the time, neither one of the brothers up. They asked the brother, the second brother that stayed, did he know the first guy? He said no, that was a lie. Oh, you just talked about lies, right? Your police officers didn't do nothing about that. I confronted you, I told you, man to man, in front of Mr. O'Shea too, but y'all didn't want to bring it up on the cameras about the situation. Y'all wanted to put it to the side. Like,
it's okay. You don't have to That's okay. That's what we do.
now when you wanted to push my son away, my family to the side, like we don't matter. We do matter. We this community. Not y'all. Y'all don't even live in this community. Majority of y'all don't live here. You know? And we got a lot of street violence that's going on, and the brothers are still back out driving. And I have to see them every day. Every single day. Me and my family have to see them every single day. And I'm hurting. You as a mayor, you didn't even come to my son's funeral. It was 600 people there. You was not there. Jeff Dunbar, he's happy to stop by. Now, he's part of the community. I'm not going to say you're part of the community because you didn't care. At the end of the day, when I told you what happened, you sat there and told me that me and my mother didn't know what we was talking about. That she was about it.
It was an accident. I'm like, I have something to say. I'm concerned because how can it be an accident when you're speeding up a block? He just had stepped in the bike lane, but you speeding 2 cars, and they put it on Facebook. They was drag racing up the block, and nobody got locked up.
No, still didn't get
One
locked
of them
up.
had license or insurance enough on the car.
But if he was a, I'm saying, if he was white, or a Jew, he'd been locked up already. We got a lot of Jews that's moving in our community. Maybe because of you. Because you want us out of here. You can smile, you can smirk, you can do all you want. But it's the truth. You know it's the truth. Come on, Mr. O'Shea, what you have to say?
Yeah, listen, number one, as I told you that day, I am sorry for your loss.
I understand you saying you're sorry, but your officers know that something happens, no one's doing it.
The officers, like the law, the officers, our traffic people conducted the investigation. It was presented to the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. From that point on, all we can do is collect the facts, the witness statements, everything else. Every witness statement.
We have witnesses.
But every single one that came to us, if you were...
Witnesses talked to the defense
Yes.
attorney, and they still didn't bring the two guys in. No. They still didn't bring the two guys in and even question them. First of all, like I said, y'all don't care about them neither, because one of the guys got grazed by a bullet in Jersey City. None of y'all didn't come ask me did I have anything to do with it. I didn't have nothing to do with it. Second time, he got jumped right down the block. They hit him with his own car. It was in your Jersey General, Mr. Mayor. Y'all still didn't come question me about anything. Y'all supposed to care about him too. He's a victim, you know what I mean? He's a victim, but y'all didn't care about him. It's like y'all didn't care about me nor my family.
Sorry you feel like that. We presented everything, all the witness statements, including the ones that I left you the number and they called up. You know, they spoke to people. The two brothers were spoken to, their statements, everything, the cars, was all presented to the prosecutor's office. They said that it will not be pursued as a criminal matter and it will be followed as a civil lawsuit. And as we told you then, we'll cooperate with you 100%. I'll get you whatever you need to do that. But
Even
once
with-
we finish...
listen, even with both of them stating that it's still not a criminal matter?
No,
How?
everything...
If I spit in your face or the mayor's face, that would be a criminal matter, right?
That's-
Okay, then y'all want to lock me up. But you have two brothers that's stating that they did the murder, and you still told me it's not a criminal matter. How is that not?
Everything has went there. There's, if there are more witnesses come up, I'll bring that there too.
We had four witnesses. Well, how many more do you need? Tell me. How many more do you need?
Everything is went there.
You go by these.
Face.
Oh my
There's
goodness,
nothing,
man.
that's it. I would, if it was different, I would tell you different. But that's the answer.
Listen, I have that.
At the next meeting, can we get the prosecutor here to answer that question?
The prosecutor won't talk about publicly about an individual case, right? It wouldn't be right. I understand that.
You don't understand nothing.
I understand
said
that you
it's
might
wrong.
be blamed.
And I can't.
I had to bury my 8-year-old, not you. You don't understand anything. You don't understand how my family, what my family was going through. Don't tell me what you understand.
Well, what can he do is the answer. What can
There's
he do? Where can he go?
The process is that he needs to engage in the Hudson County prosecutors. The way it works, that any time there is a homicide or a potential homicide in the city, okay, it's the same process that the city follows. The Hudson County Prosecutor's Office takes over the investigation entirely. It leaves our hands, and that is a process to protect residents ultimately. And then ultimately goes in front of a grand jury potentially. It goes through a whole process that this country is set up based on. Now, if you think that there was an injustice done, you have to talk to the prosecutor about it. You can't throw fingers or you can't throw punches, and I understand that you want to. You can't say anti-Semitic comments and loop it all together. That's not going to solve anything. There is a prosecutor's office and a route to go through that, frankly,
Can I ask a question? So we as a community, how can we help this situation? Can we ask for a grand jury or something like that of the prosecutor as a community?
The case has been investigated. The only thing that would change, if somebody has a witness or new evidence that they have not considered yet. But if you want to ask them why they came to this, I doubt they would say that. But if the new evidence comes up, I know I can't give you what you want. I'm sorry.
Is there an advocate that he can talk to help him along those lines? I mean, if they're saying that there are witnesses,
If the guy put it on Facebook and admitted it, I mean, to me, that prosecution.
And the witnesses talk to the
So
defense
how
attorney,
can
and
we
they still
help
didn't
him?
do anything. A 13-year-old that was standing right outside with my son at the time, talking to the defense attorney. and his brother, and they still ain't do nothing. Dealt out
The best thing that
57 years old.
in line with what this woman said, I know you have an attorney, the attorney should contact the prosecutor again and be your advocate and bring this new information up if they think it has not been
Contact
considered.
information and your name and everything for all of us, and we'll all write it, and maybe then.
That's right.
Can we, rather than just say that and let it die, the registration, everybody registered here?
That's what most people.
Well, the people who registered, she made a suggestion that we act on his behalf.
That's right.
That registration will actually do anything else if it's okay to have that list presented and to your attorney. Because what I'm hearing, there has to be new evidence, is that right?
Yes.
Nothing's gonna change, and it still got to go to the
Correct.
Hudson County Prosecutor's Office.
Correct.
So maybe we can move that to the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. We won't solve anything here, except the recommendation she just made. How can we stand in this brother's position about the death of his son?
So he's not alone, so we've got everybody.
You don't have to feel alone, brother. That's all we can do. We should leave that.
Kimberly Johnson, New York City anti-violence. So, what Jermaine just said, basically this is what's happening in Jersey. So I think that the injustice is the fact that as elected officials, you couldn't give them any direction. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of hurts. So it makes you feel like you're not empowered and you're not a part of the community, and his son did not have. So I think that we definitely need to change that and be his advocate, even if you guys have to call the prosecutor's office and urge them to do something for them. But I would like to know, I just wanted to make that statement. I would like to know, what are we doing here?
Get the mic, sis.
So what I was saying, I'm Pamela Johnson, Jersey City Anti-Violence, and what I was saying was what Jermaine said, it makes him feel like he's not empowered, like he's not a part of the community, and that's the problem. His 8-year-old son is no longer here, and he has to speak for him, but who's speaking for Jermaine? And I think that as our current administration, for him to ask a question, or for the young lady to say, well, who can be his advocate, and there was no type of, initiative to say, well, we can advocate for you, that's the problem. I just want to make that statement. I'm not looking for an answer. But what I want to say, I just want to take up the man because I couldn't speak in the first meeting, so I'm going to speak because this is my ward. So I want to say that what are we doing as far as violence prevention? Because most certainly that solving the existing crimes is the top priority of our list, getting more police officers and everything. But if we're not doing anything to prevent the next murder, then we're not doing anything at all. And so what I want to say is that people don't feel empowered in the community. There are no jobs. Recreation is not in the school systems. Schools are not open as late as they should be, so children could come off the street and come into a safe haven. Every child out there is not out there because they want to be. I sit in a lot of these meetings and I hear a lot of community bashing and victim bashing of how we should step forward and be accountable. Everyone is accountable, not just the community. So if I report that I see a murder, yes, I'm helping you solve that murder, right? But what is preventing the next murder? That's what I'm saying. So we have no prevention measures in the school system. It should start at pre-K. I know there was supposed to be a meeting with Dr. Lyle set up, and that was weeks ago when we talked about it, and I'd like to know, have you moved further on that? So there's always a lot of talk about what we're going to do and the direction that we're moving forward in, but there's never anything saying this is what we have done, and this is what has started. And so I just want to say that we feel upset. We are upset and we're tired. And it's hard to come to these meetings over and over again and sit here and hear the same rhetoric. It's really hard. Because we leave out of here and I go on my street on Princeton and I pass through the drug dealers and I pass through the prostitutes and I pass through everything that we know exists in our community. So when you say that we're bringing this and this is coming and this will happen, it's hard to believe that it will ever happen. And yet we know it's not something that just started. No, we're not blaming you guys, but you inherited the position. You ran for it, you wanted it, here you are, and here we are. So what I'm saying
Mr. Mayor, outside of the window, this actually said, over the last 3 years, we've witnessed 3 homicides, numerous shootings that has not been solved. My window's been shot out. The window next door has been shot out. I've witnessed police officers walk past. I know that there's a process that we have in hand, We need to step up this process and have them walk more frequently. And I'm talking at least 3 times a week, if not 5. At least visit some of the store owners and have their presence known, at least introduce themselves, not just walk past, get down to the next and move on.
That's fine.
This happens a lot in between the avenues, between Bayview down to State. This happens, and it goes on and on and on and on. So we need more of a presence, not from just the community, but you guys also. That's where we are.
Okay, so I want to touch on a couple things, and then I'll turn over to the the police officer component, and I'll turn it to the Captain Lockwood and Director Shea. I want to go back to your initial comment about why don't you advocate or why didn't we advocate. There is a process in place where you refer things to the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. I would refer to each one of you. It was a tragic situation that happened. We all agree on that, but there always are multiple sides to the story. It is not fair to have us advocating one way or the other. There is an individual who did something in that situation, and people look at the facts on that, and we do not try people before the facts. It would be unfair to advocate for it because we don't. We provide information saying that there is a process in place that the Hudson County prosecutors go through, and that is fair for both sides. It is unfair of people in this room to rush to judgment because somebody is saying something. That is totally irresponsible for everybody. Everybody agrees something tragic happened. Nobody disputes that fact. But understand that there are multiple people in there, and people have to be fair because there is a process on this thing. So don't convict somebody or advocate for something before you have all the facts of every single side. That's first, and I think that's fair. Number 2, on what have we done? We have escalated the number of jobs for the summer for youth. We are hiring 1,000 people over the last 2 years, more than any other administration in the history of Jersey City. We are doing it with corporations on the waterfront, putting them to work over there. We are spending more money on youth employment than has ever been done in the history of Jersey City. When I say there is a shared responsibility, there is a shared responsibility, because I tell you that sometimes when we try to fill those 1,000 different positions, we have a hard time filling them. The council people will attest to it. We go out into the community trying to get young men and women to sign up, and we have a hard time in doing that ultimately. There is a shared responsibility. That is the reality of the world. We have put more into recreation than anybody in the history of this city. You would be hard-pressed to say that there isn't a program for any sport, any activity that you are looking for. Can the schools be open later? Absolutely. Can more schools be open? Absolutely. Can we have more job programs? Absolutely. Do we have more job programs than any other time in the history of Jersey City? Yes, we do. Do we have prisoner reentry programs for the first time over the last 2 years, counseling those people when they come out? Yes, we do. Are we expanding that stuff? Yes, we are. It is hard for you to argue without looking at facts and say that we haven't done anything. Can it be better? Always. But it's not fair to sit here and try people up here and say it's not happening when you don't have ultimate facts on that, when the facts point in a different direction. I will defend aggressively the people up here and the people who work every day, putting those kids to work, putting those kids in the schools, putting those kids in the recreation program, because it is a shared partnership. It really, really is. Okay? Okay, so let me talk about your